So after playing 103 games in AOS, I finally hit myself top 20 in Ninja. And after playing that much in AOS, I finally were able to figure out my mistakes, and after recognizing my mistakes and tried it out on my alt account again to climb, I was able to win 8 times in a row in my alt account and just hit 1500 right away. And so, right there, I clearly figured out some ways how to play Succession Ninja to climb, and in this video, I would like to share you my advice and tips for that for Succession Ninja. First of all, my first video guide for Ninja Succession was 10 months ago, so I really appreciate you guys bearing with me on this video. Honestly, my editing kind of sucked, but it was my first video basically, and so that's why it was kind of rough. But downhill, I was able to learn editings and everything like that. And so, let's get it started, and hopefully that we can wrap this up and make it even better on this part 2 video. So what are we waiting for? Let's get this started. First of all, having the best FPS in the game is very important, and so what you guys want to do is go to display settings, and we want to go to display quality, and then after that you guys want to click right here, lowest optimal. So I didn't actually know about this. I don't know why it's down here. It should be right next to very low right here, and then it should be lower, right, because it's the lowest. But surprisingly enough, they put it right here, and so just keep that in mind. You want to press TS, and then you will look like RuneScape quality, but you will get the best FPS. As you guys can see, my FPS was 239 here, and yeah, you can put low, medium, high, it doesn't matter really here basically. But the most important one is when you guys are PvPing, you guys just want to use the lowest optimal right here. And then after that, I just turn everything off basically, and yeah, this is just my settings. If you guys want to follow along, I don't care. And then another important one is right here, crop mode. The reason why we want to do this to 80% for height is we reduce it down the screen up to right here and down here, and then we can actually see it further. For example, let's say that I want to see this guy right here, right? So if I put it like this, and then I can see it on my screen, but if we make this to back to 100, let's see what happens. We can't see him, right? And so that's the reason why you guys want to use this height about 70 to 80%. It doesn't really matter, and just go with your flow. But if you do that, it makes it wider, and so that's the reason why we want to do this. And make sure this crop mode is on, boom, and now we can see it. And so that's why for PvP, crop mode is very, very necessary, so that way we can see it wider on the side, and you don't get really used to it. I was really also weird at first. You just get used to it, to your eyes, and then yeah, it just feels better now for me now. After that, we also want to go to war right here. You can also make a trial character, so this is a trial character for example, and then we just want to go to battle arena. And then the reason why we want to go here is all those scarecrows or the bots now can be CC'd when we use some kind of CC abilities, and so that's the reason why we want to come here. And then once you guys come over here, what you guys want to do is just come over here to these human scarecrows, and then now when you guys do some abilities, now you guys can see which one gives bound, which one gives floating, and stuff like that. And so that's the reason why we want to be here. And then now let's move on to the next step. Since I'm recording for tutorial guide, I'm just gonna change back my lowest optimal to remaster, so that way it looks pretty and all for you guys in your end. Alrighty, so let's start learning about Ninja. So if you guys don't know about Succession Ninja, once you guys unlock Succession, something cool about this class happens in these kind of skills, such as ankle cutter and then crescent slash. And the reason behind that is it's a Shift+LMB to use ankle cutter, for example, but then on the left side it says Succession blah blah blah. It says hold RMB to perform extra attacks, and you'll be like, oh, what is that, right? And so what you want to do is press Shift+LMB and then RMB after that, and then look at that, right? And so that's the reason why you guys want to use that ankle cutter, and then press RMB afterwards to perform extra attacks. And the best part is in the beginning it has a forward guard, and then it has super armor at the end, and look at how long the animation is as well. And so that's what you guys want to do if you guys won't need to do a lingering super armor around, and that's what you guys want to use for that ability. Same thing with Crescent Slash. The tricky with this one is though, it doesn't have any forward guard, and so in the very beginning it has nothing, and so you might actually fall down while you use that ability. So what you guys want to do is use it when you are around in the safe area. So for example, if you do movement skill, let's do movement, crescent, ankle cutter, and then movement, and then crescent slash, right? And so that's the stuff that you guys need to understand right there on those two. And so also what I would like to talk about right now is actually put all these numbers from 1 to 20. And then this is the stuff that I like to talk about today. And so if you guys want to do exactly what I have here on my screen, please do so, and then I will explain the reason why behind it. So once again, we just learned ankle cutter and then crescent slash. So let's learn something right below it, which is called shuriken flight. And so this is QS to use it, and it's very tricky to use. It's a really weird one, but you just get used to it once you master Succession Ninja. So the thing with this ability is that it has a floating, which is very nice. But the most important part is that at the end, you can actually press LMB and RMB to perform more things. So for example, if you press LMB afterwards using this ability, this is what it looks like. Boom, and then LMB. So it actually dashes to the forward. And so what does that mean? So we can actually move that to our movement skill, right? So when we do movement skill, right? I use all these two right there to go forward, and then I can also use like shuriken flight and then go forward a little bit as well. So like this. Crescent slash and then flight. All right, so we just learned those three right there, and then you can also like disengage to the enemy. So let's say that you want to give them a float, and then you want to back off a little bit, then you just press RMB on that scenario. So this one is kind of quick thinking. You just need to know like if you want to go in or want to go back out. So like this, floating and then RMB, right? And then you can like just give them a quick floating and then you can back out. And then the really nice thing about this skill is that at the end, it has a really long super armor. You guys see this symbol? The BSR is in the way, my bad. But as you guys can see, it has a really long animation of the super armor. So, as long as you guys don't touch your keyboard, then you guys can basically stand in that super armor position for a very long time, right? And so just memorize that animation and memorize that how many seconds it's going to be on SA, and then after that you guys can like move around again, right? And even this as well, right? So you guys can play very, very slow, but unless if enemy has a grab, then you do want to play faster tempo. And this is going to be your best friend, which is Shadow Slash. It's only 3 seconds, and the best part, it has a attack speed of 10%. And when it comes to PvE grinding though, I really recommend you guys actually using Ghost Claw, because it actually has 17% attack speed. So let's say that some of you might have a question, oh, can they stack? So let's try it. So AD and then pressing LMB, we get 10% there. But if you press number 3, it does not stack. It just overstacks. And so let's say that you use that and then you got 10%. But then if something is higher than the lower one, then it basically just rebuffs up and then changes the skill. Let's try other way then. So let's use Ghost Claw, and we should get 17%. But if you change, or if you use the Shadow Slash, see, look at this, it's still 17% because it's technically lower. And so just keep that also in mind in your freaking brain, that if you use something higher for buffing and then try to use something that's lower, then it's not gonna stack. So once again, number 3, and then Shadow Slash, and now look at this, still 17%. This is still activated, and so just keep that in mind in your freaking brain. So we talk about these. So these are all movement skills too, guys. All right. So let's try it. Movement skill. Boom. Boom. Crescent slash. Boom. Flight. And then movement skill. And then you guys can like practice that, shadow slash or whatever, right? So now we just learned all those 4 right there. Now this is a fun part about easy combos that I'm about to teach you guys. So you guys see those 2 right here. So the left one is actually Magnus skill. So you go ahead and do Magnus, and then you guys can basically go behind the enemy, which is amazing for back attacks and stuff, right? But then the really cool part is that you can actually use heart aiming after using Magnus ability. So if you guys hover what heart aiming is, look at this. It has all accuracy rate of 15% for 3 seconds. So if you guys think about it and do your research, all accuracy rate of 15% is very, very high. So for example, let's say that we're fighting a striker, right? And then let's say that we got a grab. All you have to do is those 2 combo, which is F and then LMB RMB. And look at that, it uses those 2 right there. So that's the reason why I put it up here on Edit UI settings. And so that's what you guys need to know, is that if you guys actually land a grab on the enemy, that's what I like to use for combo wise, especially when they're like high evasion striker. So let's say that, this is a really high, strong evasion class. And so what you guys need to do is get your accuracy up, right? And so the best way to get your accuracy up as a Succession Ninja is using heart aiming. So previously, when there was no Magnus, the way to use this ability was like using side slash and then using LMB RMB, right? So like this, like that, and then he does use that ability, and that's basically the only way to use it. But concealed, you can also use like conceal, for example, like getting invisible like this, and then if you press spacebar, you can do that too. But it's kind of stupid, and people don't really use that method. And so yeah, like if you guys actually land the grab, that's what you guys want to do. And then use those two ability, and then now your accuracy is up for 3 seconds. So you know, don't forget to burst them up with lots of abilities. And so yeah. Next step, we're gonna talk about these two combo, which is Ghost Greeting, and I think this one is Fatal Blow. So nice thing about Ghost Greeting, it has iframe very quickly, and same thing with Fatal Blow. And then they're both actually movement skills, so check it out if you guys do it together at the same time very fast. So this one can be very tricky. I had a long time to memorize this one. It's very tricky. It's like Shift+LMB, Shift+LMB, right? So it uses that. So if you're not too sure, just keep spamming that, right? Just get that in your brain, literally. That one is the hardest one, honestly, for me. I don't know why, but that took me a while to use that ability. So just keep pressing that, and then after that, what you guys want to do is pressing W+LMB RMB. So if you guys hover this, it says W+LMB RMB to dash forward, and then use the skill. You guys see that? So that's the reason why we want to press W and then LMB RMB. So if you just use LMB RMB, this is what it looks like. It does not move. But if you do W+LMB RMB, see what happens. And then you guys see that little dash, right? So using individually for this one can be tricky. So what I like to use together is like Ghost Greeting and then Fatal Blow. So this is what it looks like. So he has a little dash and then little dash again from Fatal Blow. And so that's one of my favorite movement skill that you guys can use. And so try again, Ghost Greeting, and then using that. So what did we learn so far? Let's go over it again. Ankle cutter, press and slash, flight, sidestep, right? And then those two combo right there, boom, boom. And so we just learned all this right here, guys. Less than in 10 minutes, I always say, right? And then we just learned those two up here on the top as well. So if you actually land a grab or something like that, boom, boom, right? And give lots of damage, and your accuracy is up. And so ready to go to shred them like butter. So another cool trick that you guys can use for PvE grinding especially is using Shift Q, which is block jump, and it does give you melee AP plus 6. You guys see that for 10 seconds? So what I usually like to do is, like when I'm grinding right here, what I like to do is Shift Q, which is using block jump, and then using the Magnus combo. So like this, Shift Q, F, and then using that. So it uses those 3 right there. And so the reason why I like to use that one is because I get, you know, melee AP plus 6, and then the most important part is that I get the accuracy buff too right away. So that's the method I use in like grinding in Hex. Hex has a really high evasion. Why doesn't it move? Okay, so yeah, if I grind here, these guys have a lot of high evasion on the mobs, and so what you guys want to do is buff up with your accuracy and also debuffing with your, you know, skill add-ons that has like debuffing evasion rate, for example, too, right? Like this one. And so that's what you guys want to do there. And so what I really recommend you guys are just Shift Q, boom, and then the LMB RMB together to use that 3 ability. Okay, where to talk next? Oh, so we can do, let's see, there's a cool flow skill that you guys can use, which is like using a fox claw, and then you guys press LMB and then RMB afterwards. And so let's press LMB and see what happens. Boom. So after using fox claw, it looks like we use this skill called Black Moonlight, right? And so you guys can basically do that combo if you guys want to have a nice flow, or if you guys do fox claw and then hold RMB, let's see what happens. Boom. And so it uses the beheading the dead. And then really important about here is that Foxclaw has a floating, and then beheading the dead has all DP debuff. So if you guys want to give like a quick combo, for example like this that we learned, so grab, F Magnus, and then shift RMB, and then holding RMB, right? That can be like a really cool combo, right? And so that's what I like to do sometimes as well. And then after that, you guys can like press number 1 or number 2. So personally, Red Rain, I just lock it and then just put it on number 2, but it's your, you know, personal preference, I guess, right? But for me, I use number 1 for Blade Spin. You do have to put hotkey for this one, and it's the most efficient damage for Succession Ninja. And so you always need to put that in a hotkey somewhere on your favorite slot. And so something like this, you know, grab, F, Magnus, and then Shift+RMB, and then RMB, and then pressing number 1 after that, you know what I mean? And so that can be like a combo that you guys can maybe try and practice. Thing with Succession Ninja, guys, is that he'll be always using lots of abilities. So sometimes your number 1 is not up, right? It's on cooldown. So when we do this combo, right, for example, some of the abilities will not be available. And so that's why you need to practice like which kind of ability you need to use next when the number 1 is down, for example, right? So maybe you can use Red Rain instead of number 1 and stuff like that, and just have to be a very quick thinker. And so that's why it can be very difficult playing Succession Ninja, is trying to figure out what ability is available for you. And so that's another reason why we need to put this on Edit UI. And so if you guys don't have any of these in your screen, you're kind of trolling as Succession Ninja, because you don't even know, you know, what ability is up, and then you're trying to use ability, right? Like, we can still use ankle cutter, but guess what? There's no SA anymore and stuff like that, and we can't press RMB when it's on cooldown. So that's the reason why you have to put this on a cooldown, or Edit UI. See, boom. So now we can't use ankle cutter for 10 seconds, right? So don't use that. And then now all we have left is all the other stuff that we can use, right? And then try to linger. And then when it's up again, that's when we can use it again, basically, right? So that's the stuff that you guys need to practice. And so just practice the way I taught you guys in the very beginning, and just muscle memory it and practice. And then once you guys do that, you'll be like honestly solid like me in Succession Ninja. Am I still in top 20? Let's see. I did kind of lose a lot. 4 in a row, guys. That was really bad, but oh, good. I'm still there, boys. Let's go top 20. Poggers. So let's talk about some debuffing. So what are some debuffing skills that he has? I really recommend using Ankle Cutter because he has all DP minus 20. And then you guys can also use this one, which is Beheading the Dead, which is all DP minus 15 as well. Don't forget Red Rain as well. It also has all DP minus 20, just like that as well here. And so what I usually like to do in PvE grinding is like I use Ankle Cutter and then use a debuff for like all DP minus 15 or all evasion rate for that Ankle Cutter, because it's spammable, right? So let's say that we're grinding in Hex and you know they're all grouped up, and then I already used the ability, but then now they're coming in, and so now we can move again and then give an Ankle Cutter to them, right? For example, and then giving a debuff. Debuffing is very, very important when it comes to PvE grinding. And so, you know, when you're grinding in a late game zone, you want to use some kind of a debuff that's also spammable, which Ankle Cutter has it, right? Thing is that Red Rain, if I use it once, it's on cooldown, I can't spam it anymore, right? I'm pressing number 2 right now, it doesn't work. And same thing with the Beheading the Dead. Once you use one ability, it's done. But guess what? Ankle Cutter, I can spam that shit all day, and it's PvE grinding, so who cares, right? So you want to make sure you debuff them all the time, and then after that, you want to give lots of damage by, you know, using like Blade Spins, all these other abilities. So now when it comes to PvP though, you can also use it, right? For example, Red Rain, I put both of them for all DP and all evasion rate, but it's really based on your preference, right? Ankle Cutter, I basically put all DP and evasion rate just for a little bit of more tankiness. And so, yeah, but it's really on your preference of whatever you guys like to do. Also, we have a really cool skill that I actually learned about was floor sweeping. And this skill is really good. And the reason behind that is it has a down attack damage of 10%. So you look at this, down attack 10%. So what we want to do is, for example, right, we can do some combo like this, which is grab, Magnet skill, right? I did very slow there, but and then after that we can do like SF, and then there's a quick casting as well, which is using floor and then shadow stomp. So let's try SF and SE. Boom, like that, right? And so you guys can use something like that quickly, and then you know get that down attack damage buff, and then after that you guys can like press number 1 or number 2 again, just to give lots of damage at the end. So think of it as like you're a chef, right? You're like the Gordon Ramsay chef. What you guys are doing right now is like giving a season, right? So E or Shift Q, and then we go behind them and then grab them and then do the magnet skill. Look at that. I got accuracy rate, I got melee there. And so I'm like seasoning this guy right now, right? And then I need to give a debuff. So, okay, so let's use Ankle Cutter and then go behind him, right? So that's the stuff that we can learn right there, is we give them a seasoning of myself, of, you know, giving myself melee accuracy and everything, and then debuffing them. And then after that, we can use like down F to give ourselves more buffs, right? And then now we can press like number 1s, number 2s. Or another good skill that has lots of damage is Black Moonlight. And so Shift C. So that one can be also tricky for you guys too, but once you guys have a good hang of it, that's also a good skill to use and has a lot of damage. Or you guys can go to skill enhancements and then you can use Illusion of Restraint. That's also really good damage because look at the critical hit rate, guys. It's 100%. So there will always be crit hit every time you use this ability in PvE or PvP anywhere, right? Think about Blazebane. Look at this. It only has a critical hit rate of PvE only of 50%. So technically, you guys are not giving any critical hits, and it cannot be basically double damage. And so that's also a reason why you guys will need to get your critical hit rate up in PvE grinding and like even PvP general, right? Like you guys want to use your crystals. Oh shoot! Oh, we got some good stuff. But yeah, you guys know what I mean, right? Like you guys need to do that. Some of the abilities are very powerful, but because it doesn't have a critical hit rate, you know, it can be also lacking on damage. And so right here, once again, these ones, it only has a critical hit rate of PvE only. And so my recommendation, honestly, now would be just using this one, which is Illusion of Restraint, because it's always critical hit. So for skill enhancements, let's talk about PvE and PvP settings. So for PvE, I like to use Moondive. And then on PvP, I like to use Only Shadow because it hides you. And then Illusion of Restraint, I use that for more damage. And this one is really up to you. It doesn't matter if you want to use it on PvP or PvE. And then this one, I used it on PvE because it also has an all DP minus 15. So let's say that my, you know, Red Rain or Ankle Cutter or whatever, I don't want to use those abilities. You can use also this ability and give them a debuff, which is Shift Z. And it goes behind the enemy too. And it's a very fun skill. But if you want more damage, then I highly recommend using this that we just talked about. And then lastly, Ghost Claw, the reason why we want to use this ability is 70% attack speed, guys. That is freaking good and juicy, and you know, it's a 10 seconds buff. It's really good, honestly, right? If you guys think about it, 17% is very high for attack speed. There's literally no way to get attack speed besides like getting from the crystals. Or like these ones of destruction stones and stuff like that, right? And that's about it. And BSR if you have 100% or 200%, and that's it basically. And so getting that attack speed somewhere, which is from Ghost Claw, is huge. So that's the stuff that I learned and wanted to let you guys know in this part 2 video, was like use Ghost Claw on PvE grinding. Super amazing. Look at that attack speed, right? And then after that, if you guys want to get into PvP, then Ghost Slash is where it's at, because it has also forward guard, and he actually dashes a little bit into the forward as well. So right here, let's unlock this and then get this one and then put it on number 3. So keep in mind too, the ending ones, you do have to put in a hotkey. So these ones can be like Shift X and Shift Z's, right, to use these abilities. But in order to use these ones, you always have to put it on numbers. And so yeah, but Ghost Slash is PvP stuff. So look at this. Boom, right? It goes forward and then it has a forward guard, and so it's amazing. It's a movement skill, so you guys can like use the stuff right here like this, right? That we just learned together, right? Do it with me, boys, if you guys remember. And then after that, we can use number 3. All right, next let's talk about this one, which can be aggressive grab, which is Boss Slaughter. So we can do like a Shift F, and then look at this, what happens. We basically get an iframe in the beginning, and then we just teleport in front of them. So what people usually like to do there for that one is pressing either smoke screen after that, or they just press a grab afterwards. So let's press a grab and see what happens. Like that. So while you guys are close to there, and then what you guys want to do is give a grab like that. Or you guys can just press smoke screen and then get yourself an iframe right away once you guys go close to them. So it will look something like this. Like that. And now we have a super armor, right? And so that's the reason why we want to add that smoke screen right there. So that way you guys can have always protection to yourself. And then when it comes to PvE grinding too, I like to use these ones, Shadow Clone and number 5 as well. Number 5 is basically same thing as skill enhancements of the Illusion of Restraint. And it's basically literally the same thing. But more damage wise, I would say this one is better. And so Yeah, but on PvE grinding, I definitely recommend you guys using that if you guys want. But keep in mind, it doesn't now have any like forward guard or any protection, and so that's why you guys just want to use that on PvE. And then after that, we have Shadow Clone. This one's an amazing skill because it actually recovers your HP. So let's also talk about some recovering HPs. So if I can look at it, let's see. So Foxclaw actually has healings, if you guys didn't know. So you guys definitely want to use Foxclaw to heal yourself. And then after that, we just talked about Shadow Clone, so I press number 4 to heal up again, basically. And then after that, I use Red Rain also for healing. It says recover 40 HP per hit, so that's your healing as well for that one. And then lastly, we have this one, which is Dark Frenzy, which is SC, and he has a forward guard. It's like a Yasuo wall, like in League of Legends, right? It blocks everything in front of you, but not behind you, and so just keep in mind, that can be like a risky skill to use if the enemy is very quick. But PvE grinding, once again, that will be my healing. So number 2, which is Red Rain, Foxclaw, Dark Frenzy, and then lastly, I would say using Shadow Clone. I did teach you guys this combo in part 1, but let's just do it again just in case for those people just watching my part 2 video. So we have this Evasion, Shuriken, Malice. The cool thing about this skill is that we actually throw our Shuriken, and then we can actually move around either left, right, or forward. And then if we press RMB, which is alert stance, we can use this ability. So for example, it will look something like this if you do WQ and then pressing RMB. Like that. And then at the end, if you guys are quick enough and then use SE, which is Shadow Stomp, then that's what it looks like right there. So QW to use the Shuriken, RMB, alert stance, and then we're gonna use SE to go forward. So this can be a really good movement skill, for example. Right? So from here, we got all the way up here. So it's mayzing skill for a movement skill. So it will look something like this if you do this combo. Remember guys, do the combos with me. Movement skill, right? So as you guys noticed, right here, I basically did ankle cutter, move, and then crescent slash, move, and then flight, move, and then those goes both of them, right? And then after that, now we can use the WQ, and then using that for movement skill right there. So there's actually a lot of cancel animation for this Shadow Stomp. It's basically what the best way to check it out is like just testing it out. So for example, let's do like Shadow Slash and then use Shadow Stomp. It does not have, you know, quick animation, right? So we learned that it doesn't work there, right? And then let's try Ghost Greeting and then SC. Spoiler alert, it actually works. So boom, just like that, right? And so that's why you guys need to know is like when you guys are playing Awakening Ninja or Succession Kuno or Awakening Kuno, the Ghost Greeting and the SC of Shadow Stomp actually works. And so that's why you guys need to know if you guys are playing all the other classes. That's the stuff that you guys need to know. So Ghost Greeting, SC, that works. And so, you know, you gotta understand that. Okay, let's try Crescent Slash and then use it, I guess. It doesn't work, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then we just talked about, you know, floor sweeping. It works, right? SF, SE. Okay, that was my bad, but we just used a Magnus and then we did SE. So, you know, we just learned something cool there as well. I actually didn't know about that myself. So we can actually do that. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's move on. That's the thing too, guys. Like, I played so many characters that I didn't even have time to play on my Succession Ninja. And coming here, like, in a practice mode and then, you know, like, testing myself or, you know, testing stuff because I'm so busy making tier lists for all other classes. And so, you know, I'm still not a perfect person, but now we're all learning together, and so you know what I mean. Let's go. So that's what you guys want to do on your free time, right? Like trying to figure out here and there, like what are some cancel animation that we can use for Shadow Stomp, right? So we did Foxclaw and then try to do SE, it didn't work, right? Or we could press number 4 and then SE and see what happens. Ooh, that one works, right? Oh, Succession Kuno actually also works for that one, by the way. Succession Kuno actually used Shadow Clone a lot, now I remember. And then she can basically do that and then go in together as well. But yeah, my highly recommendation for the Shadow Stomp though would be, you know, the Shuriken, throwing Shuriken, RMB, and then SC. And then the floor sweeping one is also good, right? And then the Magnus one is pretty cool, dude. Honestly, right? You guys can go behind them. And then using that right away too, right? So there's a lot of method. And another important one is the ghost greeting, right? We can use ghost greeting and then do that as well right there. I think we talk about everything. Let's just go from top to bottom, so make sure I don't miss anything. Shadow Slash, we talked about it. Attack speed, ghost greeting, which is that. Spammable too, which is amazing. Crescent Slash, you can use that ability. Also has a floating in the very beginning, but doesn't have any forward guard, so use it on your own risk. And then Ground Thrust is just basically double jump and then SF, right? And then he actually also has a bound too and gives CC on the enemy. And so yeah, just keep that in mind. Sweep Floor is SF as well, but then you can't double jump, right? So you have to do it on the floor. But then if you want to use the Ground Thrust, double jump, SF, right? But then if you use floor sweeping, we basically get down attack of 10%. So make sure you guys use that once you guys actually land the, you know, grab, for example, right? And then doing my combo and then like SE and then SF after that, for example, right? Stuff like that. Okay, and then ankle cutter, Shift+LMB, and then pressing RMB as well. So those are the stuff that really doesn't talk about in other tutorial videos, guys. And so you're welcome. Enjoy that, you know, hidden freaking skill for some reason. Like, I don't know why it's on the left side right here and then like telling us that, oh, you guys just press RMB and, you know, there's some really cool stuff, right? The thing is though too, if I watch out like other tutorial video too, like they don't really tell you. They just expect you to know for some reason, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I had a really hard time figuring that out too. I didn't even know that those things ever existed. So that's the stuff that I tell you guys right here on this video is that ankle cutter, press RMB, and then crescent slash, press RMB, and he literally has another ability. Next, we talk about Fatal Blow. I highly recommend doing the W and then LMB, RMB, right? It goes forward and then he uses that ability. And another thing I actually didn't talk about, it actually has a buff. All AP plus 12. That's the reason why we want to also use this in PvE grinding. And so what I usually like to do is using like a Ghost Greeting and Fatal Blow for skill add-on buffs. So that way you guys can use that quickly. So those two right there. So let's say that there's a mob in front of me and I use those two ability. Boom, boom. Right, and then I can basically get myself a buff very, very quickly. But I usually use this for movement skill too, and so when it comes to PvP, I don't like to use that one because I use it as a movement skill, for example. But I also get all AP plus 12 by using that ability from Fatal Blow. So, you know, we can also get AP from, you know, Shift Q, right? And then we can also get Fatal Blow. So look at this, 6 plus 12. So we got 18 AP right there if you guys play correctly. And then hard aiming, we just talk about it. Basically, we need to use the side slash, right? Shadow slash, and then pressing LMB, RMB. Or you guys can do a cool trick that I basically taught you guys something new here, which is using cutthroat and then using LMB, RMB. I keep slowing down for some reason. But yeah, right? That's what we learned here today. And so I highly recommend you guys doing that trick. It's very, very good for a high evasion striker. So if you guys get a grab, F and that, they're basically ready to be shredded for that, you know, quick 3 seconds. And so what are you waiting for? Just freaking kill it. Okay, after that, we talk about Foxclaw, right? If you use Foxclaw, there's 2 flow skills that you can use by pressing LMB, RMB, right? So that LMB, that's what that looks like. And then right, that's what it looks like right there. So another cool thing right there, you guys can actually use Foxclaw, and then you guys can use Alert Stance. And then you guys can actually use the SE, which is the Shadow Stomp, right? So this is what it looks like, right? And it's really cool. And so just keep in mind too that if there's any ability that uses Alert Stance, then you guys can basically press SE right away and then make a really cool animation and stuff like that, right? And do something like that. Next, we talked about this one, Shadow Clone. It's basically just healing. So only use it on your hotkey and then use it on PvE. And then Boss Slaughter is Shift F. It basically teleports to the enemy. You need to actually aim them, make sure they're red. And then if you guys use the ability, it should go to them. So 2 more seconds, let's try it again. Boom, like that. And then there was 2 options that I recommend you guys, which is grabbing or smoke screen, right? Just to give your protection. So if you guys actually hold spacebar too after smoke screen, hopefully you guys know about this, but if you didn't know, you're welcome. But just see what happens if you guys press spacebar after Boss Slaughter and hold the spacebar and see what happens. Boom. So now we can actually get out by using conceal. So if you guys didn't know, there's actually a really cool flow skill. You guys see this line, that means there's a skill right next to that ability. So after we use smoke screen, it's called concealment. And so, you know, we basically press spacebar after smoke screen, and so that's what we did there. And then he also has an iframe in the very beginning, and so that's why it's a very good escape too. Another cool part about smoke screen is it actually has a stun too, right? And so, you know, like if we actually do Shift F and then do smoke screen, and then if they didn't have protection, they're basically stunned. And so that's why this is also a good way to, you know, give CC to them. But another good one would be like grabbing them after that, right? That's also another good stuff. And then next, we have shackles. I recommend doing that on PvE grinding. It just gives damage for extra if you guys want to use that, and that's basically it. But it does have a stun, which can be cool and all for PvP, but once again, it does have nothing, no protection, and you do need to put in a hotkey to use it. So it's really up to you guys if you guys want to use that for your extra damage. And then we talked about Black Moonlight. In order to use this ability, is basically the flow skill, right? Which is from the the Fox Claw, right? And then pressing LMB, that's another way to use it, or just memorize Shift C. That's another way to use it. And also, friendly reminder, skill add-on, that is a tier 3, so you guys can get like a monster damage or attack speed 10%, the highest one. And so Black Moonlight and Blaze Blade is tier 3, so just friendly reminder for you guys. If you guys want to use that for PvE grinding, feel free to do so. And then after that, we have a Beheading Dead, which is Shift E, right? Or we can use the flow skill again from the the Fox Claw, and then pressing RMB after that to use that ability, right? And then he also has a debuff, so you guys definitely want to use that if you guys want to debuff the enemy for PvP or PvE in general. And then lastly, we have a Blaze Spin here, and we basically have to put in a hotkey to use that. And it's also BSR. And so, for example, you guys will see like really high ninja players moving around. So you guys can see like how I can move around with my mouse. In order to do that is press settings, interface, and then go to mouse interface, and then use mouse to move right there, and then apply. And then if you guys press control, then you guys can start moving, for example, right? And so if you guys have 100% BSR, this is what it looks like. And then if you guys pull out your mouse, you can actually move around too, right? So like this. I want it this way. I want it this way, right? And then you guys can actually move around like that. And so that's another cool trick if you guys want to use it. Same thing if you do have a mouse settings. This is what Armin and Yellow do as well, which is like they can use like ankle cutter, and they can use like crescent slash, and then they can actually go backwards. So for example, you know how we always go forward like this, right? But if you pull out our mouse and then put it right here in the bottom, see what happens, and something cool really happens, which is going backwards. So look at this. Boom, like that. So instead of going forward, if you time it right and then press control and then press LMB, you guys can basically go backwards like that. And so, you know, that's the really cool, fun stuff I guess they use, right? Like that. That as well, right? And so that's what they do there. And so that's how you guys do that basically too. So if you guys want to be cool and fancy, feel free to do so. But I don't know, personally, it already has a super armor, and so I don't know what they're doing, I guess. I don't know if they're trying to move around, then it makes sense. Like if they don't want to go there and then they just want to stay back, then it makes sense 100%. Right, like this. Then it makes sense. But it already has super armor, guys, at the end. So it doesn't really matter to add that fancy cool, you know, combo if you don't want to, right? Like just keep it simple as much as you guys can, so that way you guys can be less stressful when playing, you know, Succ Ninja. And then we have ebuff here, which is WC, and it gives all AP plus 20, all accuracy rate plus 20. And then critical hit rate 30%, ignore or resistance 15. The most important part that I actually didn't know about this skill was actually on the bottom part. You guys see that? While buffing his effects, Succession skills hit, apply poisons or burning or bleeding, damage of 120 per 3 seconds for 9 seconds. And so if a skill has a bleeding, that's what you guys want to use, and then basically can give more damage. For example, Fox Claw has it as well. And I'm not sure actually personally, I have to still do research about this one. But you know how you guys can add also like bleeding effect on like Ninja Blade Spin and stuff like that right here, right? And so right here, it also has 150 bleeding, right? Something like that. You guys can use that too, and then basically get that buff. But I actually didn't test it out. It's just my assumption that it might work. And so, you know, don't call me out on that, but do your own research. And if it actually does work, let me know in the comment down below. And, you know, help our media out, with our community out, with, you know, with some good infos. This is George, by the way. He is my puppy. He is 6 months now. He's very, very cute. Don't forget to subscribe, or else he will keep licking you till you die, okay? Okay, now let's talk about Red Rain, right? It has a debuff as well, once again. So I like to use that for more debuffing, like all DP, evasion rate. So it's really good for PvP or PvE. Has a super armor, so it's really nice protection too, right? And then Dark Frenzy has a forward guard, basically Yasuo wall. Blocks everything in front of you. And if you actually have a mouse opened up as well, you can actually move around too, right? And so for example, look like this. Right, and then if they're behind you, now you can change it other way around, for example, you know what I mean? And so you guys can do that. So moving mouse trick can be like honestly powerful on those scenarios too, but sometimes it's not necessary, right? And so it's really up to you guys what you guys want to do there. Next, we're going to talk about secondary skills. Throwing kick is like F, but because we have magnet skill, which is also F for this one, it basically doesn't work, right? So if you press F, that doesn't work. So only way to use it is basically hotkey. But I don't really recommend using it because it doesn't have any protection, and Ninja does have a lot of floating. Also, another friendly reminder, Ninja actually doesn't have any knockdown. So what does that mean? They will basically stand up very, very fast because they only have like lots of floating. So Fox Claw has floating, this one has floating, floating, floating. This one is only PvE. This one also works, right? But yeah, what I'm trying to say though is that they will stand back up very, very quickly. So what you guys need to do is like do your combos very, very quickly, and then they will stand back up. So guess what? You need to actually put them down basically twice or 3 times, 4 times until they're basically dead. And so that's why they're basically a bleeding class. So what does that mean is that you guys E-buff, for example, and then now you're just giving lots of damage and bleeding, and you're basically torturing them and killing them very, very slowly. That's what Succ Ninja is for, basically. Right? You guys basically give them a debuff and bleeding like these two. And then you basically just wait, right? And then you just basically watch them die slowly, right? That's basically it in order to play like Succ Ninja. But yeah, once again, it has lots of floating, and so just keep that in mind. They will stand back up very, very fast. And yeah, like throwing kick, you don't use it, so you can either lock it if you want to, but you need to put in a hotkey anyway, so it's really up to you. Okay, and then target chase, you do need to put this in a hotkey. Personally, I like to just put it on a tab, and then you can literally just run all day without consuming any stamina. And so while you're running, you can also add like, you know, ghost steps, right? Stuff like that. Stuff like that. And then all those combos that we learned today, right? Stuff like that. And then going from there. And then ghost step, we just talked about it in the part 1 video. Basically, you know, do the side step like this. A, D shift, S shift, right? Only going forward is WF though. And so just keep that in mind. And also what I need to talk about actually about that is that you guys can actually teleport in front of them when it comes to like PvP or PvE. You guys can though use sidestep like this or backwards to go through them. And so also that's really, really important for like PvE grinding. Let's say that you guys get like caught grinding in Hex, right? There's so many mobs there and you will get stuck eventually. So if you want to escape that from them, you need to do sidestep. Don't ever do WF and try to go forward, because you will not go through and then you will die eventually like Nazi zombies. Okay, and then Ninja Evasion is only good for PvE. If you guys see that, invincible during the PvE, and so that's the reason why you can maybe use that. But it also consumes extra stamina. You guys see that? So that's the reason why it's not really good. But yeah, if you guys want to use it for PvE, feel free. PvP, 100% lock it. And then we have Ninja Step, which is W+RMB, moving around like that. Brace is really good for like if you're out of mana, right? It also actually can give you HP, and so yeah. But shift spacebar in order to get your mana and a little bit HP back as well. And so it's like 200 HP and then all your mana back basically. And then we have E, which is a grab, right? Boom, just like that. And then now we have a smoke screen. So smoke screen is basically like the shadow stomp. So you need to do your research basically and see like what abilities I can use and then use smoke screen, right? So we need to basically start from the beginning again. So shadow slash and then spacebar. So it works, right? And so that's what you guys need to do and practice and see where you guys can use the smoke screen, for example. But it's usually mostly like everything. And then you just press spacebar and that's it. And so yeah, like it usually works for everything, but that's what you guys need to know is just pressing spacebar and use a smoke screen. And then if you guys hold it down, then you guys use the concealment, right? Which is invisible mode like this. So we can also use a ghost step and then hold spacebar as well, right? And then now we are on a concealment where they can't see us. But once you guys move or press shift of WF, then you guys can basically come out, right? And so that can be, you know, revealing to the enemy, and it actually consumes stamina as well when you guys are hiding as well. So while you guys are hiding, right, look at my stamina, right? It uses my stamina as well. But if you guys want to get your stamina back up, just stand still and you can actually get it back as well. So this is really, really good and powerful for Arena of Solari. You guys want to be like sneaky ninja basically. Anything else here? Basically down here we're just gonna talk about Shuriken Flight. It has a floating, and at the end it has a super armor after pressing LMB and RMBs, right? And so just keep that in mind for that one. And then we have a Malice, which is Q. So this is good for like good stiffness as well, actually, for long range. And then we have another one, which is the green one, right? So there's a blue one and the green one. Blue one, we just stand still and just throw shuriken by just pressing Q. And we can throw another one by using the green one, which is like the movement Q. So it can be like a QA. That one's really tricky. QA is very tricky, so you know, if you muscle memory that, you're a legend. But yeah, QA, and there's DQ, and then yeah, right, WQ as well to go forward. And then don't forget to use alert stance, which is pressing RMB after that, right? And so, oh, and I really forgot to talk about the alert stance for the Moonlight and the Beheading the Dead. So when you guys press SE, which is D skill, which is Beheading the Dead, and if you guys hold RMB after that, you can actually go back to alert stance, just like using the evasion shuriken after. So it would look something like this: Shift E and then pressing RMB, right? And then use this alert stance. So what you guys want to do is like, what do you do, right? You use like shadow stomp after that, right, to go forward again or something like that and do some cool tricks. And then the other one was Moonlight, right? And so Shift C, and then you can press RMB as well to go backwards as well, right? So that can be also movement skills. So if you guys think about it, look at this. This is what I usually do too. So let's say that we use all this combo, remember? Boom, boom. And then if I do turn around and then use the Shift E and then RMB, I go backwards, right? And so that's the reason why I turn my mouse. And then after that, I use the, you know, the Moonlight and then go like that. And then I turn back out, right? And then go from there, right? And so this is what it looks like for movement skill, for an idea. Like that, right? And so yeah, that's the cool stuff that you guys can add right there for your movement skill idea as well. And also don't forget Shift Q, right? If you guys press Shift Q and then press either A or D, it goes to left or right, right, of one of those woods, and you can also use that as a movement skill. Or if you guys press W, it will go behind the enemy as well, and then you guys can get basically easy grab just by doing like that. Is that it? Oh yeah, sky stepping is really cool. You guys can basically, while jumping, you guys can like move another, you know, sky step like that, right? So you can go like this and then go backwards, or like this, or forward, right? It's really fun. So like right here, if you guys are like going out, you guys can like basically come back in and like trick people, I guess. I don't know. So you can do that like on your free time, but I don't recommend it in PvP because it does not have any iframes, right? So while you guys are doing this, you guys might basically fall down on the floor. So not recommended in PvP, but PvE, you guys can maybe do that, right? And then block jump, we just talk about it. So once again, if you guys press Shift Q, you guys can, as you guys can see, press W to go behind, and then left or right to go one of the block of the woods, right? So Shift Q, W goes behind. And then if you do Shift Q again, and if you do press A, it will go left. And if you press D, it will go right of the wood. Okay, now I think I talk about everything. I think I'm happy. Yeah, I think that's good. And then we talk about skill enhancements. I think the best way to learn ninja is just watching me fighting people, and then I just slow down the video and then explain, I guess, what I did there, right? For example. And so yeah, let's just watch some videos of my Solari and then just teach you guys here and there from my point of view of ninja. And so there's two ways in the beginning. You guys can basically go stealth mode, or you guys can be aggressive and then go inside and then use ability that has like lingering, such as like ankle cutter or, you know, crescent slash that I just did there. And then best way to get people grabs is, you know, using block jump. And so that's why I use block jump there and then try to catch people there. After block jump, notice I press Shift Q and then move my mouse and then went to the enemy and then press W, right? And so that's the stuff that you guys can do right there as well. And watch out, Ninja is very squishy class, so if you guys are getting knocked down like this, you most likely are going to V all the time. And then just back out and hide and get yourself a health back. Press Shift spacebar to get health back basically. And then in this map, you guys can basically get the green buff, and it basically gives you guys HP back. Then I'm basically going back in. I try to BSR there, but somebody actually grabbed me, so also watch that as well. If enemy has a grab, they can actually put you down on the floor like that. Notice how I use like lingering SA right there, let her teleport, and then after that I went close to her and then use block jump and then give a grab, for example, like that, right? And so that's what we can learn, something like there. Once again, I like to play aggressive in this game, and so that's the reason why I use lingering SA, and then after that, I did block jump. When I got down here after that, I knew the enemy was like on the left side, and so what I did was I went to the right side and then did frontal guard and blocked everything in front of me. Once again here, I did lingering SA again and then block jump again. Seems like that's my favorite combo thing to do, but you know, it works in my Solari. And so that is a big tip for you guys right here. So after running away and then get some health back and then I come back in and then notice the combo right here that I use and then block jump and then grab and then the combos that I taught you guys previously again, right? I'm gonna slow down the video. Hopefully some examples from my Solari video guide kind of help you guys how to play Succ Ninja. I think I really went details on this video, so I'm very happy about it, and hopefully that you guys can actually learn something from this video. And so yeah, hopefully you guys have a good day and learn some of my sexy combos. And so what are you waiting for? Get in there, practice a lot in Solary, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.